Howdy, welcome. It's John's D&D vlog, episode number 41. We got 300 subscribers. I know it doesn't sound like much compared to people like Taylor Swift, but I'm really happy about it. So to kind of celebrate, I thought I'd do another episode. We're going to talk about DM fatigue today, which is something I experience myself from time to time when I'm dealing with the game. Sometimes we descend from role-playing into role-playing. Role-playing is where the story is big and thick and strong and you're really having a good time enjoying a story, right? But then there's role-playing, ROLL, where people are just rolling dice and killing monsters and collecting XP, and there's no real story going on. So you always want to keep what's going on fresh and interesting and fun, right? So what can you do when things kind of descend into a state of boredom? So anyway, before I give you my own ideas, and I must admit my own ideas have been influenced pretty heavily by the things I'm about to show you, I went onto this Facebook group, the one that I always speak on, and I got a lot of good ideas from a lot of people. I'm scrolling down that list right now. When I'm done with showing you this list, I'm going to show you my own ideas. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on a few of these ideas. So anyway, if you're having a hard time keeping your game kind of really interesting and fresh and happy, these are some things that you should be thinking about. What I noticed about a lot of these ideas was that most of them dealt with just simply a change of pace. Some of them suggested complete abandonment of the game for a while, and some went off the other edge of the scale, the meter, right, where you would just go full bore into the game and make things even wilder than you've ever done them before. So basically, most of the suggestions just dealt with a change of pace, which is a good idea. A few of these ideas, though, they hit the main core root of the problem a little bit better, I thought, where you actually go in and you find the root cause of the fatigue and then you find a way to deal with it. Or you're trying to find a better way of making an emotional connection with the players, right? So those are going to be the ones that I focus on the most in this particular episode. How do you find the causes of problems, and how do you deal with the causes of the problems? And just don't forget, the main goal of all this is to have an emotional connection with your players. So how do we bring about that emotional connection a little bit better? So from here on out, I was just going to do some brainstorming. Sometimes it's just a good idea to just get a whole bunch of ideas and then you sort through them and you figure out which ones pertain to you. So like, where could the fatigue possibly be coming from? Why is it that you don't feel so enthusiastic about playing? So I looked at all the possible reasons why a person might feel tired, and I kind of categorized them in these 4 different areas. How often you play, who you're playing with, your own ability as a DM, and if you don't have enough time, that also affects your ability to be a good DM, right? So all 4 of those areas can get in the way and create some fatigue. So I was going to go through them just a little bit. So sometimes it is just you need a change of pace, right? Sometimes people get into these weekly ruts and they want to get out of them, but they're feeling like they don't want to let the other players in the group down, so they just keep coming week after week, even though it's not as fun for them as they would like it to be. And at those times, a change of pace is good. It is good to walk away from the table from time to time, right? It's just what people need sometimes. The word blasé comes from having had too much fun. You've had so much fun that you're bored with it. And the solution to that, of course, is to go work, or to get out of that rut for a little while so you don't feel bored by it anymore, you know? Sometimes it is as simple of a thing as just getting a change of pace, and then that's fine. That's enough for a lot. That's enough often, right? Personality incompatibilities. Sometimes you're going to have people in your group that aren't terribly nice, or their attitudes or their personalities just don't suit you. It happens, you know, not everybody is destined to get along very well with everybody else. There are going to be people who just don't get along very well, and if it's bad enough, you know, just don't be afraid. Maybe you should leave your group, or maybe you should find the one guy who's causing problems and probably invite him to go join a different group. It all sounds kind of cruel, but you got to realize it's nice when everyone's having fun, and if you're not having fun, then what's the point of doing it? Anyway, lack of skills. Sometimes people just run out of ideas, and you need new ideas, and you can solve that by either just putting some time into it and figuring stuff out on your own, or buying some product, or getting opinions from a bunch of people like on that Facebook group I'm a member of. If the problem you think you have is that you're just out of ideas,
So that's the easy one to solve, because there's a ton of ideas out there that you can go and grab and use in your own campaign. I'll talk about a book or two after this stuff I'm doing right now. Lack of time. Are you having a hard time in your personal life? Do you have enough time to DM? This is a big deal. If you don't have enough time to do a good job, you can still try if you want to. If you can find the players who are willing to stick it out with you, then great. Congratulations. But maybe you'd be better off as just a player and not the DM. Anyway, like I said, this is all obvious stuff. I'm just helping you think of the simple things that maybe you hadn't thought of yet. Of these 4 areas where problems can occur, I can't help you very much with number 1, number 2, and number 4. You're just going to have to figure out solutions to those problems all on your own. As far as running out of ideas, that I can help you with. I'll show you a few of the resources that I personally use that have given me a lot of really good information. So this is the Facebook group I go to all the time. I'm a first, second edition kind of guy, so this particular Facebook group fits me really well. And what I've noticed is a lot of the old timers hang around here, so these guys have a lot of really good information. I mean, they've been DMs for a very long time, so they have a lot of very good information that they can share with you. And the people here have been very nice, and I've really enjoyed spending time here talking with people. In a couple of past episodes, I talked about a few resources that I really enjoyed. So the first was this one homepage I found that just had this big long list of plot hooks that you could go through to find a new idea on how to get your players connected to a story that you'd like to run them through. And it's a lot of good stuff, but it's just stuff that an average user like me and you have come up with. But then to go one step further, closer to being more academic or more professional, is this periodic table of storytelling homepage that I found, and it's wonderful. If you want to understand how to make a story, you take all of the basic tropes, right, that millions of different stories always tend to have in them, and then you can just grab several of these tropes, put them together, and you can make your own story from them. So anyway, I highly suggest you check out those 2 pages. But there's actually one more resource that TSR themselves actually published. Some people really like it, and I'm just getting into it, but it seems to be valuable. This is the last book I'm going to be talking about in this episode. Sorry, I'm trying to make a short episode. So this is the Dungeon Master's Design Kit. It was published in 1988. And basically, this book is trying to do for D&D what the periodic table of storytelling, that homepage, tries to do for writing in general. They're trying to take a really complex, kind of mystical, kind of magical, they're trying to take something extremely hard and standardize it so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you try to write a new adventure. You can just grab different ideas here and there and put them all together in the manner that you prefer. So I'll just show you the book a little bit, and then we'll talk about what's in it. What's in here is actually 3 little booklets, right? And each one does a different job. So this first one here, it just goes over all the different elements that you'll find in a story, like who the main villain should be, what sorts of magic items might show up in an adventure, why the people are going to be getting out there to do the thing in the first place, what a MacGuffin is. It just goes through all the basics that seem to be common to all modules ever made anywhere, right? And so it's a good primer on what you might want to be thinking about if you're going to be putting together your own story, right? And then from there they go to booklet 2, right, which is a booklet of forms, right? So they really want to standardize it, which I don't know that I care about. I don't think I like it. But basically they give you a form, and it forces you to think about different aspects of your adventure. You know, what's the title? What's the theme? What sorts of villains are going to be in it? Who's your main boss villain? What's the grand finale going to look like? And it goes through here story by story. It gives you a form to do for each. I mean, you can take these forms and just do the one that uses that covers the entire adventure. You can use the one to get into the individual encounters. It kind of, the forms force you to think about things that maybe you hadn't even considered, right? So anyway, it's something to think about. And then this third book, this Whenever I hear people talk about this particular product on the net, what I've heard them say over and over again is that book 1 and book 2 to them weren't so necessary, but they really liked book 3 because it just so like with that plot hook hack and slash mega dungeon page that I showed you, this book tries to do what they did, but this has actually been something that's been published by TSR themselves. So anyway, they go through here and they just talk about all the different plot hooks and story hooks and explain all the different ideas that you might come up against during the adventure. It just goes through and gives you a whole bunch of different ideas that you can add to your campaign. I like it in that it's giving me ideas that I personally wouldn't have thought up on my own. The part about this that I don't like is the same reason that I kind of have a hard time. I'm not completely happy about the periodic table of storytelling. It takes something that's supposed to be very organic and very natural and very artistic, and kind of it gives it the same feeling as like making sausage out of a meat grinder. Art to me is supposed to be something that comes from your soul, and you do something really cool that you are in love with. And when I get into books like this, it seems to take all the joy and love and uniqueness out of it. So I'm probably being too hard on it, the same way I'm being too hard on the periodic table of storytelling. But anyway, book 3, the Adventure Cookbook. I like the mystery. I like the kind of mystical, unique aspect of doing all this stuff. I really enjoy it. But in case you happen to be out of ideas, there's stuff like this that's available to you that you can check out. Ideas, that's the part you got a lot of help with. All those other aspects that might be making you tired, that's good luck. I hope you can find solutions to your problems. It's a wonderful game, but there are times when it's a little bit hard, and it's nice to have some help getting through it. So good luck to you. This is I'm not doing weekly episodes anymore. You're just going to hear from me from time to time, maybe every month. Something like that. The next couple episodes I'm planning on doing will be one on Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, Module S3, and then also G2, the Glacial Rift of the Frost Giant Jarl. Eventually I'll get into those as soon as the groups that I'm in can finish those stories. But anyway, thanks. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends about me, and as new episodes come in, show up on the net, you'll be the first to find out about them. Thanks a lot. Thanks for all the good comments. I've really been enjoying the conversation. Thank you very much. Have a good day.